While I was at the Huff Show well, it wasn't past week now, it's been, wow, almost 2 weeks ago. I had the opportunities to get together with a few of the sharpeners and do some brief interviews with them. So I figured I'd do a run of videos showing some of the stuff that they told me, showing their mobile rigs, and just have an opportunity for you to meet them. The first one we're going to start off with is Craig with B Sharp in Kansas City. So let's go say hello to him. Craig, how are you?
I'm fine, Jim. How are you?
Doing great. Why don't you show me your rig here?
I'd be happy to. This van's been kind of an evolution at work for a number of years.
I can imagine. Been doing a little bit here, a little bit there.
I change something all the time. It seems.
Well, climb on in. Show me some of the stuff and some of the things that you do, and then of course say wonderful things about all the Wolf products too. We always like that. So.
Well, the big money maker's the Wolf twice as sharp here. And I have it on a vacuum system.
Yeah, very nice. That's the vacuum system that Larry originally invented and sells through Wolf now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Larry Brooks is with Sharp Edges. He's an excellent sharpener, wonderful trainer as well.
And mostly I use the small clamp. I do use the Okami clamp.
Mm-hmm. The convexing one?
Yes, convexing clamp. Mainly, I don't do convex shears on the twice as sharp, but I use the clamp for taking nicks out of blade.
Oh, nifty.
And then I've got the Wolf buffer here that I use.
I can sneak in there.
And that swings around.
Oh, neat.
And I have a paper wheel for doing knives in the back with the belt grinder.
So you get everything pretty much on like a pivot action type thing here, so that you can kind of swing it out in front of you so you don't have to move quite as much.
Right, right.
That's nice.
Well, and I do knives from the back, so...
So you stand out the back, or do you just move the chair over?
I have a stool that I use.
A second stool. And do you enter in from the back usually,
Yes.
or do you? Yeah. So that's neat.
So this pivots so that I can use it in the back or use it in the front.
Now I see you have the Honda generator back there. How do you like the Honda?
I like the, well, when I use it, it's real well. It's just kind of emergency when my batteries are down and I got more clipper blades to do.
So you work mostly off of the inverter systems and things.
Yeah.
What kind of battery system do you use along with the inverter?
I have two Optima
Mm-hmm.
deep cycle batteries wired in here with a wire from the engine battery. I did replace it with an Optima at the time I put the system on.
Mm-hmm.
And real happy with the Optimas. They've gone 3 years now.
Mm.
And that's about 3 times as long as any other.
No, that's great. And that way, the way that it's hooked up to the vehicle, when you drive, it actually charges as well.
Yes.
Do you keep the van running most of the time when you do the sharpening, or just kind of off and on depending upon weather?
Just off and on.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Depending on how hot it is.
I see you have a vacuum system hooked up. Looks like across the backside of the van back here too.
This is for the clipper home.
Gotcha.
And there's blast gates on each
Now the
machine.
clipper home that you have there, that's the CS101, is that correct? And
Yes.
it's kind of just been modified to fit the needs that you have?
That is right. That's a the Nebraska Blades machine with
Uh-huh.
a Huff's Extreme Cut plate.
Good.
Two-sided plate. And
16-inch plate, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you like the new Huff plate?
I like it real well.
Good.
And I get the big advantage of the Huff plate is the number of blades I get per charge.
Really?
Huge difference. I do 8-10 blades, no problem.
Before you lose your spark pattern?
Right.
Nice.
And my flat home system is for scissors is kind of it's two machines actually that have been bolted together to give me 4 separate heads.
And those are the old Floratus machines, correct?
Right. They're actually, I think they're made by Jet.
Okay.
They're imported.
Yep.
And,
they're good little units. And you do mostly freehanding, is that correct?
yes.
That's nice.
And
Now, how long have you been sharpening, Craig?
I've been, well, sharpening I've been 30 years probably, but doing hairdressing shears, clipper blades, and knives, or specializing in that, about 10 years.
About 10 years. Very good. Very cool setup. I'll tell you, people are going to love seeing this because it's always a mystery sometimes when you get, especially when you get started in the business, people get,
well,
they don't really
have my computer and run QuickBooks.
Oh, this is nice.
Here. Print up invoices down there. Have a filing cabinet here for all of my invoices.
Ah, beautiful. So that's your own little roving office. This is actually new since I've actually seen this.
Yeah,
and it's actually pretty cool too because it gives you an element of protection as well, just in case there's ever a wreck or anything like that.
Right.
So that's something that people really need to take into consideration when they're putting their vans together. Is
yes, and it's pinned to this deal. I figured in case of a head-on collision, the engine would push this stuff backwards instead of letting it
come
crush
forward. Right. So.
But thankfully, I haven't
ever run into that situation, and we pray that you never do.
Yeah, this is a block that I use for. This is all for working on the screw systems of scissors.
Excellent.
And I've got.
You know, I need to do an article on that because I haven't actually done that. I still have the pictures from that last show that we were at together where you showed me this.
Right. Basically, little Allen wrench, and this is really Nick Cutter's idea. But the Kokoros and those that have the Allen socket that's a 3mm.
Right.
Just lay flat on here then, and then use a spanner to take off the other side.
Take it right apart.
And
that's dynamite.
it's like you can do it. You don't need a third hand.
Yeah, you know, it's the little things like that too that make the shows so valuable coming to, because just what you learned off of Nick right there is dynamite.
Right. And this is this is how I hold screws for working on the screws, like opening the slots and such. It's a little.
Oh, it just grabs and it's been modified where you have a
drilled
little
a hole in it. There's a big hole for big screws, and then a little hole for little screws.
Oh, neat.
And then I ground flats on there, and I can wedge that in the vise.
Yeah, very cool.
Vise. Get a lot of things, and then screwdrivers and knife. This looks like a drill chuck with a bit, but that's for reaming out bumper holes.
Right.
It's just a handle. So, and then this is a little clamp for peening the threads to, if you have a really loose one and you need to.
Gotcha. Knock them down real good.
Yeah. Keeps you from having to bang on the back of the scissor.
Yeah. Which people don't like very much when they see you do that.
Right. And then, of course, I still have my good old, my trusty Wolf scissor kit.
That's one of those things that when you need it, you really need it.
That's true. You do.
All right, Chief. Well, thank you very much for the quick tour.
Okay.
That's the shebang.
That's about it.
Oh, and hear that? That's people being called in from the fields in Edina for lunch. Come on, farmers, let's go eat.